everybody, welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 183. Aaron, it is the start of a brand new season, and you know what that means.
No. What?
High expectations.
Are they
ready
high?
to be squashed and pummeled and beaten down.
Yes.
Oh, man, it is what it is. We kind of already know what to expect, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show here. But I just want to say hello to the absolute, the rocks of the show, Peter St. John, Kellen Foster. Just want to say thank you guys. You guys are always in the chat, always here to say hello. And Matt Lowe is in there too. Says welcome back, fellas. Hey, Matt, thank you. Welcome yourself there, buddy. Thanks for popping in. We're super excited, as Kellen Foster said, for the season. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Aaron, should we just jump right into it, or how are you feeling?
Sure. Welcome back. It's a new season, a new start for us, and we'll show you some pictures later. But we are working on a new set. I swear, I'm not just saying that every time that we have an episode. So we will be in person doing these live shows and possibly recorded shows and possibly interviews with some more people. So stay tuned, and thanks for staying with us, especially after this is our 6th season now, which is bananas. It's pretty cool.
We've been saying that for a long time. Even I don't believe it anymore, but that's okay. Hey, Aaron, the opening night roster. Zinksy says hello. The opening night roster. I think we've got some graphics here. There's a lot of turnover, something that we expected to see. But why don't we have super producer Jason go ahead and throw the graphic from the 2022 roster up there, and you can see some of the names. Aaron, why don't you go ahead and maybe, I don't know if you want to call it the names that are crossed off here, and those would be the names, obviously, that are no longer on the Sharks roster for this coming season.
Sure. I mean, I needed to add one here because Lindblom got sent down, but Nick Bonino, Jonah Gavovich, Noah Gregor, singles tier, Steven Lorentz, Timo Meyer, Matt Nieto, Evgeny Svechnikov, Scott Harrington, Eric Carlson, Jacob Megna, Marcus Nudivara, who actually retired, unfortunately, and James Reimer, and as I said earlier, Oscar Lindblom. So, yeah, that's quite the big turnover from a team that finished, were they 4th to last, 5th to last? I can't even remember. 4th to last.
4th to last, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess not to be completely surprised, but fully expecting Carlson to get traded, which he was. So I think a lot of people outside of Sharks fandom see that was a really silly move by the Sharks and that they're just dooming themselves to be even worse. But I'm not so sure about that. I actually don't think they're going to be as bad as everyone else, which we'll get into in a little bit. But that was last year's opening roster, just going through those names quickly. But let's show what this year's opening roster is going to look like. The Sharks just released this afternoon, I believe. So the opening roster here, the forwards, we got Barabanov, Bordeleau making the cut, Couture, who's going to be injured, Anthony Duclair, Willie Eklund, Michael Granlund, Tomas Hertl, Mike Hoffman, Luke Kunin. Good, because our garbage man is back. Kevin LeBanc, Mitchell Russell, also injured. Giovanni Smith, Nico Sturm, Philip Zadina, Fabian Zetterlund. Those are the forwards. Then moving on to defense, we got Matt Benning, Kyle Burrows, Ty Emberson, who was just claimed off of waivers, Mario Ferraro, Nikolai Konijov, Jacob McDonald, Nikita Ahoychuk. Oh, I did that one right. Jan Ruta, Radim Šimek, Henry Thrun, Mark-Edward Vlasic, and the goalies, we have Mackenzie Blackwood and Capo Kakinen. So a lot different look and feel. This is now Mike Greer's 2nd full season. A very different roster from 2 years ago, let alone last year. So what do you think are some of the surprises here, Paul?
I don't know that I'm surprised necessarily about Bordeleau and about Eklund. I think with Bordeleau, when they burned that first year of his contract by signing him early, I felt like he might have an opportunity sooner than later. Obviously, they gave him that 1 extra year with the Barracuda, but I felt like this season was the time for him. You can see the amount of turnover, the amount of names that are off of that list now, making room, paving the way. and they had done that with dropping. I think it was. Oh gosh, I'm going to forget a lot of the names now, but there was like 3 guys, Lindblom, I think Peterson, maybe one of them. There's guys that got, put on waivers, and it just, I think, who was it? Sheng Peng had an article about it. I didn't get to read it, but basically paving the way for guys like Bordlow, guys like Eklund, to get an opportunity to play with the big clubs. So I don't think that there was necessarily a surprise there. Guys getting claimed though, like Emberson, for instance, him getting an opportunity on the NHL roster, not getting claimed, and then seeing. Well, I guess if you claim him, he has to play on the NHL roster, so that really shouldn't be a surprise. But I feel like maybe as the season goes on, if he's not kind of showing up, then okay, maybe try to push him down. If he gets claimed, no harm, no foul. I think you said that the Sharks have 48 of the 50 contract spots right now. So if he's a defenseman that's not going to work out and he gets claimed off waivers by us pushing him down, all the better, whatever. But hey, if this could be a guy, he was highly rated defensively in the AHL, and if he can kind of take that step on the Sharks roster here, it would be a really good pickup for the San Jose Sharks. So in terms of surprises, I'm not sure that I have many, because there were so many guys that are off of that roster. Like half the roster is gone, literally half. So I mean, somebody had to backfill that, right? So if you're going to be pulling in guys from the AHL, at least now they had to have earned that spot, as opposed to in previous seasons where we just had so much money tied up. They didn't have to earn anything. It was just the guys that were cheap that we could bring on, so that we'd have somebody to play in the position and not go over the cap. So I don't know that I have a lot of surprises on there. I take it that you would have some surprises though.
I think the biggest maybe surprise for me actually would be Bordeleau, because I thought he was going to spend a little bit more time. However, I think he made it because Couture was injured. I think if Couture was healthy, there's not quite a spot for him right now on this roster until there's an injury. So I think he's getting rewarded for playing well in the last few games and having some chemistry with Eklund, which will go a long ways for him in his career if he can stick together with him. But the fact that they played together on the Barracuda last year a lot, I think that helped form that chemistry. But again, with Couture out, I think that spot kind of opens up for him a little bit more. And they kind of needed him in there. And they're also rewarding him for sticking with it and playing well and listening to what the coaches are telling him to work on and do. And he's doing that. And this is his reward. So he's now on the opening roster, which is fantastic.
So real quick, you would say when Couture comes back, Bordeleau's the first one to get moved?
Depending on how he's doing, obviously. Okay. I mean, if he's on a goal scoring streak for a couple games, then no, they're not going to send him down. But I think he would be probably the first one to go, only because Eklund and Bordeleau are the only two that could move down without going to waivers. They're waivers exempt, so they don't have anyone else. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do want to call out some of these comments real quick. Atbood saying, happy you guys are back and glad I can make it live. Noah Claxton, the season will be at least more entertaining since we get to see a bunch of the young guys now and see what we have. You know what, Noah? We saw a bunch of these young guys when we were with the Barracuda season tickets. That was a whole lot of fun. So hopefully this season, watching the Sharks instead with these guys on there should be just as much fun. At least fingers crossed. Scott K saying, hello, gentlemen. Glad you're back. Glad to be here, Scott. Glad to have you here as well. Ben and Gunsry. Hi, guys. Long time no see. Absolutely. We took a nice long hiatus there. Like I said, if you aren't subscribed to this channel, you should, because, again, when there's nothing to talk about, we're not going to bother you. Okay. We're not going to bug you guys. When we're here to just talk when it's good to something good to talk about, basically. So, again, we don't want to fill up your inbox with a bunch of junk. Kellen, again, thank you for being here and fact checking us. Lindblom, Peterson, and Carpenter. That was the other name I couldn't remember. Thank you for that. Noah thinks that Musty being signed surprised him. Yeah, he's not going to be showing up in the NHL this year. I don't know about the Barracuda. I think we talked about Musty being back with Sudbury, correct?
Yeah, because he's only 18, so he has to, because he plays for the in the OHL. He has to report back to his juniors team. Is a weird rule where if you come from a juniors team like that, you can make the NHL roster if you're good enough, and you'd stick there, but you can't go to the AHL until you are 20, I believe. It's kind of similar to the way the NBA now makes everyone play 1 year of NCAA before they could be, or 1 year outside of high school, basically, so that NCAA was kind of like, hey, you're taking all of the really good star players away, and that's not really fair. It's kind of the same, I guess, idea, because the OHL doesn't want to lose all of their top best players. So I think Musty, to me, has been the biggest standout from this last draft class. Obviously, Will Smith, the top 4 guy, is going to be really good. He's already committed and signed with, or not signed, but with BC, so he's staying for another year. But Musty, to me, I mean, at that rookie tournament and every time I've seen him and highlights of him, nothing but rave reviews from others. He stands out in the games, and again, he's only 18 years old, which is crazy. And even Coach Quinn talked about how he has the speed, and not necessarily like, foot speed. It's the quickness. Playing at that level, going from, for him, the OHL up into kind of NHL, like NHL light, I would call it, for the preseason. And he played one game and played really well. He handled himself well. Just watching him, the size of his body, he's going to be a really good power forward, and I'm really excited. I still can't believe the Sharks drafted him. In fact, I have him on here as something to talk about. How, I guess I'll just start talking about it now, how he signed with the Sharks, and I was kind of surprised about that. But he is going back to his junior team. I bet this kid lights up the OHL this year. I think he absolutely crushes it, and we're going to see some big points coming out of him. So, yeah, this is what my notes said. This kid might be the steal of the draft. Graham had him. I think Graham is here right now on number 16 on his board. Although he didn't like Paul, you put these notes in here. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I was just saying, because I went back and looked at the episode that we did for the draft, the 3-hour marathon that we did.
Yeah.
If you've got a bunch of time to kill, I'd suggest checking out the live draft show that we did. If you hadn't seen that one already, we had some guests on there, a lot of fun. But during that show, Graham was there with us, and yeah, he had Musty as number 16 on his board. Although when the pick was called, Graham looked to the sky as if to say, "Really, really, Mike Greer." And I'm not sure why, because the guy that was, number 16 on the board, you get him at, 26. It seems like a good value pick, but I think he was more interested in other guys that were available at the time. Now, one of those was Perron. I can't remember the first name. Perron, I think Jaden Perron, I think. He went 94th to Carolina. So if Graham is saying I would have rather had this guy, a whole lot of teams passed on this guy a couple times over before Carolina finally said, okay, fine, we'll take him. So maybe something to keep an eye on later on to see if Graham was on point with this guy, Perron, right? The other one that he thought he was high on was Brindley, that was still available at the time. Now, Brindley ended up going number 34 to Columbus, so not too far off from 26. But I think, again, something to watch for. Is Musty going to be a better player than Brindley might be? Now, hindsight's 2020, and whatever, the pick is the pick. It is what it is. But it's good to see kind of like where Graham's insights fall on these guys here, and kind of seeing down the road, did one pan out better than the other, right? So just kind of an interesting little take there that I thought maybe we'd add to this whole conversation surrounding Quentin Musty. But yes, it sounds like Quentin Musty is one of those guys that brings everything to the table. And I had a little elite prospects page that I had opened here, and the things that they're talking about this guy, it seems like he just doesn't do anything wrong. Like, he's the type of guy that is gonna grind away in the boards, get in front of the net. He's got a great shot. He's got amazing hands. He's got great vision. This guy's got pretty much everything. So I mean, obviously OHL level, so we don't want to get too pumped up about him and too high. We know how fans are about prospects, thinking, and GMs in the same way. They think that their prospects is definitely higher rated than anybody else sees them. But when this is coming from a different source like Elite Prospects, and they're saying everything good about this guy, it's potentially telling that it could be a really good value pick for them. So if they got him at 26, and even Graham, who didn't even want the guy, was saying 16th overall is kind of where he sees him in terms of the ranking. Again, good value pick, and it seems like it's panning out so far.
I can see Musty coming back into camp next year and taking a big leap, and probably getting a much longer look at the Sharks level. I think he's that. I mean, you see big guys, big kids come in like that at 18, right? And they have the big frame, but they haven't really filled out. He's not completely filled out. He's going to be even bigger. But the fact that he's so quick with that size already is crazy, because usually it takes kids a little bit longer when they're growing into their bodies to catch up everything, right? So I would keep an eye out on him. Obviously, he's not going to make it this year, but next summer, I think at that training camp and the rookie camp, the training camp, everything, I think he's going to stick around for a little bit longer. But it's very exciting to see, and exciting the Sharks are really stocking their cupboards with some great prospects that some are already, they're panning out to the next generation of the next core of the Sharks. Will Smith is definitely going to be part of that core. Eklund's going to be part of that, and we're already going to see him probably majority of this season. He'll be with the Sharks. Bordelot, I still think, is going to get bounced between the two, only because less on his offense and more on his 200-foot game, playing defense. That's kind of where his knocks are right now. Is he's not putting in the 100% effort while they're playing in their own zone. That's the hard part, I think, for younger guys, especially guys that are always been, the go-to scoring guys on their teams growing up. Then you come into the NHL at this point, and you're nowhere near top of your team, and you need to do all the little things that you just never really had to work on or worry about before. So that it takes a lot of more like a learning curve, I guess you could say. The learning curve is still there.
And we talked a little bit about Logan Couture being injured and he's out, and that's another guy that has that full 200-foot game. To me, Aaron, so he does he still count? Doesn't count on the roster right now, though. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a non-rostered injured player, so that they can list their 23, I guess, what do you call it, starters, or your starting lineup has 23 guys, and then you scratch 5 of them per night.
So but Couture doesn't count towards that 23-man roster. Is that what we're saying?
No, and he's not on IR either. Right. So I'm not sure. I've never really seen this.
I've already got it figured out, Aaron. I know exactly what's happening. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
The Sharks are keeping Logan Couture until playoffs so that they can get him in there without worrying about the cap hit. It's the same thing that Tampa Bay did previously, right? So that's what's happening right there. Clearly, I'm joking. Sharks are not going to sniff the playoffs, buddy. I don't think so at all. And that actually segues perfectly into our next topic here. And it's all about the amount of points that we think the Sharks are going to get this season. First and foremost, I kind of want to do the roll call now while we have the discussion. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to say the number, though. I'm going to say, what city are you watching us from? And super producer Jason, if you can edit it before we send it, just what's the over under? Where do you, how many points, period? Let's put it that way. How many points do you think the Sharks are going to get this season? And I guess, you can add in there too, who are you excited to watch this season? We just talked about a lot of the rookies and the guys that we've watched on the Barracuda. If we get the opportunity to see them in a Sharks uniform at some point here, Aaron thinks of Bordelot as time maybe a little limited, but who are you interested in watching? So there you go. Tell us how many points you think the Sharks are going to end up with. Now, Aaron, there was an article in The Athletic, and although lately we haven't really been promoting them, you've got it in the notes, so I'll let you go ahead and just talk about that one real quick. Go ahead.
Well, we have a graphic up here, and Dom, is it Lecision? I think it's his name.
Lecision, yeah.
He writes for The Athletic, and he does this. He does all the analytics and all the projections and stuff. And this is the projection that they have for the Sharks. Here we go. Is that they're going to get 68.6 points, which is dead last. And according to them, they have a 0% chance of making the playoffs and a 0% obviously chance of the Stanley Cup. And then they break it down. Okay, 68.6 is the mean here, and there's a percentage of how many points that they end up with. Now, there is 1% chance that they end up with 90 points. Maybe less than 1%, because it doesn't even, there's a little bit of a blue line at the 95 point mark. There's not even a percentage. and it's smaller than the 1. So I'm gonna say that's a 0.25% chance that they get 95 points. Now, obviously, I don't think they're not gonna be that high, but 68.6 seems very low. A lot of people outside of Sharks are writing off the fact that, with Carlson gone, this team is going to sink. I don't think that's the case. Now, granted, we have Mackenzie Blackwood has not looked great during the preseason. To me, Kakinen has looked very much like Kakinen. He has a game that's fantastic, and then he has some other ones that are not so fantastic. There's potential there still, but their goaltending is not going to be great. However, I think their defense is. Oh, there we go. My Fin Factor Polo is quite the conversation starter. That's awesome. Thank you, Scott K, and thanks for buying one. I think the Sharks are going to be better defensively than they were last year, only because they don't have Carlson, who would break the puck out for them. So now you take away your best player, your go-to player. Everyone else kind of has to step up now because there is nobody else. You know what I mean? So everyone kind of needs to step up. So I think we're going to see a lot tighter games, harder contested, fought in the trenches kind of games. You know what I mean? That's what I think. But I'm not saying I think it's going to be the over of 68 point whatever it was, 6 points. I think
Okay. And
not by much, probably 75.
okay.
Go ahead.
I'm looking through the comments here, and I'm seeing. First of all, thank you guys for watching us from all around the world. We got Toronto and Sacramento and Seattle, or all over the place. So thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate you guys popping in and chatting with us here. Ryan Sontag thinks 69 points. Nice. Ben and Gunsry saying 80 points at best. Sean Savage 80 points. Noah Claxton with a beautiful 0, the goose egg. Colin says 71 points because it's the inverse of 17, which is the sweater number for Macklin Celebrini. And I can absolutely appreciate that you said sweater number, whereas I would have said jersey number. A true fan, Colin. Well done, sir. Noah, such an optimist. Yeah, there you go. 70 points from Grandizer. 72 points from Kellen. 75 from Atbood, 120 points. I think. Hey, Ben, you're crazy, my friend. I think all of you guys are wrong. Way off. I think we're not even close. Honestly, we're not even close. Here's why. I'm going to pull up the standings from last season. Okay. Sharks were 4th worst, and they had, drum roll, please, 60 points. Okay. 60 points. 4th worst. If we're going to be the worst in the NHL, Anaheim last season had 58. They didn't even hit 60. So if we're trying to be last, and if everybody's saying we're going to be last, I don't know how we have 68. 68 points puts us with Montreal at 28th in the league, 5th worst overall, which is better than we did last season. And there would have been 4 teams underneath that.
A lot of those teams are better. The teams that were below the Sharks are better.
But somebody's got to lose.
Right.
Still got to lose.
Also, look at the very top and how unbalanced the top was in terms of, like, Boston had 130 points, something like that. That's not happening again. Boston's not as strong, nearly as strong as they were. Without Bergeron, no way. Okay. So that's going to come down a significant amount, which spreads out. Let's say they're 20 points less. They're still going to be up there, but that's 20 more points being spread out amongst some teams, right? They're not the only ones. There's some other ones that were at the top that won't be as dominant this year.
Aaron so you're telling me that the Sharks last season had 22 wins, 16 overtime losses. Okay, 16 overtime losses. I think that's the most in the NHL. There, maybe not, but I mean, it's up there. That's a lot. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I think that the Sharks are better than a lot of people say that they are, but they're not 68 points good. That's my take on it. I don't think we get there. I'm not.
So you're gonna do under.
I'm saying under. I'm saying under 68, and I'm saying that as confidently as I did the previous season about the whole 9-goal thing with Noah Gregor. And I still stand by the whole 10-goal thing from last season. The luck. And I'm telling you right now, if the Sharks break 68 points, I will be shocked, number one. And number two, we will not be last in the league. I don't think 68 puts you at last in the league. I don't care that another team had 135 and that's not happening again. Great. 68 points ain't going to put you in last. I don't think so.
All right, let's do that then. You're going to say under and I'll say over.
I'm definitely saying under. You've got the over. And it seems like, again, I'm alone. Everybody in the chat, with the exception of Noah, who was it, said 0. Who's my friend?
$1.
Noah
$1.
Noah Claxton's on my side. Everybody else.
I can't wait to come back to this at the end of the season.
Yeah, I can't wait either. I mean, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, but how when last season there were 5 teams at 68 points or less, and you're telling me that 68 points is going to be rock bottom? I don't know. Math aside, logic just doesn't work. That just doesn't work for me right there. I don't know.
I don't think the teams are going to be the top teams aren't going to be as top. Okay. It's going to be a closer race. That's what I think.
Second place team was 113. So there's literally only one outlier there. When we're talking about 5 teams at the bottom.
But I think those top teams, they'll be over 100 points.
Yeah.
But everyone else will be, yeah.
Absolutely, they'll be over 100. Okay. Well, anyway, we just stunk. We're gonna stink, that's for sure. Yeah. So that's my take on it. I don't think 68. They may get 68, but I don't think they're going to be last if they get 68. That's
Kellen. The Flyers were garbage last year, and they got 75 points. Now the Sharks.
There were 5 teams with 68 points or less. If the Flyers were garbage,
the Sharks had one of the worst. Was it 1-goal games or something?
Hold on, sorry. Noah Claxton says, Paul's right. Without Gregor, this team won't succeed. Thank you, Noah. Appreciate your comment, buddy.
So true.
So, but even Kellen, though, look at Kellen. You said it yourself. The Flyers, hold on. This is the comment that Aaron just said. It was Peter. No, where'd he go? Kellen Foster said this. The Flyers were garbage last year and they got 75 points. Yeah, they were garbage and they still weren't last. 75 points are going to get them in last. They could be really bad. There's going to be teams that are even worse than that. 68 points? I don't know,
16 overtime games. Change half of those to a win.
Okay, and change the other half to just straight up losses then. If you get to manipulate numbers one way, guess what? You end up with the same amount of points.
If they turn 8 of those into wins, that's an extra 8 points right there. What did they finish with? 60?
I just closed it. 60. Okay, so let's say it's 60. Then they had to end up with 68. Yeah, 60 points because 22 wins, 16 math. There you go, 60 points.
My point is it's doable. I don't think they're going to be tanking. I don't think they're going to be as bad as everyone thinks they
Put a timestamp on this moment right now, and we will revisit it months from now. So there you go, at the end of the season. Okay,
it's gonna be a long season, isn't it?
And once again, like a lot of people in the chat are leaning on the over, so I stand alone, except for Noah, who gave me or no, it wasn't Noah. Whoever it was that said 0. Sorry, I forgot your name again. Okay, let's move on from this then. Aaron.
Oh, I can't lie. It was a lot less.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger light,
I guess.
Anyway, fans are going to be watching these games, or maybe they won't be. And we want to encourage them to do that because, again, I've said it before, Aaron, this is the best time to become a Sharks fan right here, right now, when they're terrible, because it can only go up from here. And then you get to say, you know what? I like them ever since the 2023-24 season when they just stunk. Super producer Jason. No,
we just stunk.
Thank you. So I've watched them since the 23-24 season. You get to say that, and when they get so much better in a few seasons, they'll say, okay, this guy's not a bandwagon fan, right? So now is a great time to start. Also because, as we're going to get into a little bit later on, it's going to be a lot of fun at the games. So, Aaron, How can Sharks fans and people that are maybe getting into watching professional hockey, what's a good way for them to watch this? What mindset do they need to be in to watch these games? Because obviously it's not going to be very pretty. So what are they looking out for?
Well, for one, like I'm talking about actually going to the game, not so much watching on TV, but going to the game. It is entertainment. The Sharks are going to be a very entertaining thing to go to. Let me get back to that. But watching the young guys, they are creating a new core of this team. They're very young right now, but you're going to start seeing Eklund is going to be playing, I think, majority of the season, if not all of it. Hopefully he can stay healthy and doesn't get hurt, because that he's kind of gotten, a little durability issues with that. He already had surgery at 20 years old. I think watching the young guys, they brought in some veterans to kind of mold and teach the right way of playing. I love that saying, by the way, the right way of playing. Being professionals and learning how to play a full 82 game season, because it is such a grind, and none of these young guys have ever played more than, I think, 60 games in any other kind of competition. So it takes a lot on your body to play 2-3 games in a week when they're used to playing 1 to maybe 2. And in some cases they could be playing 4 in a week. Plus West Coast team traveling probably the most out of everyone there. I think so watch for the young guys. Instead of losing hope, watch for improvements of the rookies. So these young guys like Eklund, let's see, one game he misses a pass and creates a turnover and it goes the other way, or let's say he's dancing on the blue line and gives the puck away and trips and falls and they get a breakaway and score, and see that he doesn't do that again the next game out. And remember that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope and help coming. And as Paul said, this should be the bottom. It should be the bottom of where the Sharks are. So they can only go up from there. Now, granted, Paul and I are a very glass half full approach here.
Optimistic.
So, very optimistic. That's kind of the nature of both of us. And that's probably why a lot of you... What?
Recklessly optimistic.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of you enjoy our show, because we're not as negative or bashing or crazy. Yeah, we'll be critical, but not out of line. So I still enjoy going to Sharks games. I think they're great. I think they're exciting. It's fun. I bring my kids when I can. I think it's a great time out. And this season, they are really focusing on the fan experience, because they know it's going to be a long season. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They are entertainers. They need to sell themselves as entertainment, and that's what they're doing. So it's going to be, it has the most giveaways, correct, that they've ever done. I forget how many there are. There's like a dozen or something. They also were doing this cool thing called Sharks Around the Bay Tour. And I think today was the last day, because opening day is on Thursday. So the Sharks players were traveling around different parts of the Bay Area doing autograph signings, meet and greets, all kinds of stuff, kind of showcasing the players and showing how fun hockey is and getting out in the community. Now, for all you guys who are Warriors fans, you know how bad the Warriors were for a long time, right? Imagine the year that the Warriors had drafted Steph Curry. I'd consider that kind of like Will Smith in a way. Now, Steph Curry wasn't a super high like savior right away. It took him a while. He had to get into the league, and he had ankle injuries. It took a while to get off his feet and get going, and he became eventually MVP. Think of it that way. How terrible were the Warriors? And then how great did they become? And they became a dynasty. Now, I'm not saying the Sharks will be a dynasty. Who knows? I'm not saying they're not, but the core is being built right now, and everyone's going to be a part of watching all of this grow and build. So it's a good time to get into it, as Paul said. Anything else to add there, Paul?
Not really. I mean, like I said, get in now. The tickets are going to be cheap. Yes, Kellen, they're doing the most giveaways because they got to get people in the arena somehow. 100%. I mean, they know what they're doing. It's a business, right? So, but yes, it'll still be fun to watch. Hockey's hockey. even if your team's getting beat, that kind of sucks. You could still watch, a lot of good talent coming into the arena. And yes, Ben, the Fin Factor's optimism rubs in on the viewers as shown in point prediction. Yeah, because all you guys thought they were going to get way more points than I did. So yeah, I mean, there you go. See, this is one of those times where I'm optimistic but I'm also realistic. I just don't see it. But hey, you guys do awesome. And again, I'm looking forward very much to revisiting that topic at the end of the season. Looks like you want to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I forgot. What's his name had explained this. Doug Bentz explained this to us. For the first time, the Sharks always sells like partial game packages, and it would be like package A, B, or C, and you choose which based on the games. This year, you could still do a quarter season, but you get to actually handpick what games you want, which they never did before. So if you wanted to, you could buy a quarter season pass and pick every game that has a giveaway. And I think they're doing that on purpose so that they're going to have those games are going to sell out. I am pretty sure they will sell out. Because if you had to pick a game, any game for the year that you wanted to go to, and you're not a huge fan, right? But you go to maybe 1 or 2 games a year because they're fun, you're going to pick a game that has a giveaway. A lot of times, like for me, I used to be a big Giants fan. I just don't have the time anymore. So I like to go to probably one game a year. I didn't even make it this season. But when I do, I go right to the calendar and go, okay, what first works in my schedule? And then second, what is the giveaway that day, if any? And that's kind of based on, how I base on it. So there will be a lot of other fans just like that. So I think those games will be very popular. It's really cool that they're doing this flexible thing. And speaking of flexible, they have a flexible pass where you pay like a monthly fee and they give you a card and you swipe your card to get in and out of the arena. And I think it's at a standing room lounge, kind of. Maybe there's seats. I don't know. They also built the new Sky Lounge, which I didn't even put in the notes. Sorry for that, super producer Jason. But there's a new Sky Lounge that's above the section 208, I believe. They took out the last 4 or 5 rows from the top. I think they blew out the walls to a couple of the suites, and they built a lounge that you can buy access to, and I think it's called the Sky Lounge. Pretty sure it's called the Sky Lounge. And they put in these ridiculously looking awesome leather seats with high backs, and there's a TV mounted in between 2 chairs and a table, so it's like really is a loungy kind of feel. And you get your own personal, I don't know, probably like a 30-inch TV where you could probably watch all the replays up close. I think it's a really cool idea. It's something new. They obviously aren't going to be selling all that games, so it wasn't a big deal that they took away 4 rows of seating up high in the nosebleeds and turned it into something different. And I like that they kind of are thinking outside the box here. So the Sharks are doing a lot, and they are very catered towards their fans, especially this season. And hopefully us at the Fin Factor can help turn that into stuff for you guys in terms of getting a little bit more behind the scenes with stuff at the Sharks and interviewing some current players, management, you name it. So hopefully it'll be a good season for us and that you stick around and watch. And don't forget to subscribe, speaking of, right?
Well done. So the last thing I think that I'll say about how to watch the Sharks. Now, Ben, about 6 minutes ago, Super Jason, he said, you can't lose hope when there is no hope to begin with. Well done, Ben. Oh,
It's
Aaron
true.
Glory. So you can't lose hope when there is no hope to begin with. Well, you know what? We got to look to the future, Ben. Okay. That is where we will find our source of hope. All right. I want you guys to realize that right now there's about $8.8 million in dead cap space between Burns, Carlson, Martin Jones, Balsers, and Lindblom, because when he gets sent down, there's still like a bury penalty, right? When you're trying to bury a contract. So $8.8 million worth of basically paying players that aren't going to be playing on the Sharks roster. Okay, that is this season. Next season, that gets reduced down to about 5.9 million, and then just over 3 million after that. So in this season, it seems pretty high. Right after that, it gets a little bit lower, and right after that, it's only 3 million. So there's definitely some growing cap space just internally before we even talk about the cap itself being increased over time. So there's definitely going to be a little bit more room for signing guys like Bordelot to contracts that they deserve, guys like Eklund, anybody that is, coming in from the from free agency or whatever, we'll be able to pay these guys competitively. So as the team is kind of growing and getting better and we attract some free agents, we'll have the money to be able to spend on them. I know right now we kind of are handcuffing ourselves just a little bit more with that, but honestly, we're not paying that much to these guys right now anyway, because we don't have any superstars left. I think the most that we have right now, sort of money wise, are guys like Vlasic and Couture, and they're coming up soon. But honestly, if you take a look at the contracts, there are no contracts that are over 3 years in length, aside from Hurdle, who has 7 years, and Couture, who has 4 years left. Everybody else is 3 years and less. So in those 3 years, we're talking about, again, only $3 million in salary that is from buyouts and that kind of stuff. There's only $3 million in there left, and some of the bigger contracts like Vlasic, they're going to be gone too in those 3 years. So there's going to be a lot of money available to the Sharks in the amount of time that, say, Eklund is going to be due for a new contract. When Will Smith is playing and he's pumping himself up and being ready to earn that next contract, that extension, or whatever else it's going to be for him. So the future is fairly bright. I know that doesn't do anything talking about this season, but when we're talking about there's no hope, we have to look to the future for hope. So hopefully that helps out a little bit as well, with the understanding that, yeah, we had a lot of high priced players. Mike Grier's done a phenomenal job of clearing off a lot of cap space and clearing the books up. And again, in just a few years, a lot of that's going to go away, and we're going to have a lot of room to be able to pay, either the up and coming guys or bring some free agents in and attract them with a good dollar amount. Oh, and you know what? If things happen to go, south again, we have the cap space to take on some bad contracts again, if need be, and kind of reinvigorate, we'll say, the rebuild. So there's all that to consider. Aaron, anything last that you want to say about that whole situation? It looks like you want to say something. Go ahead.
I said, don't forget, we have currently 2 first-round picks in the draft and a potential third if New Jersey ends up in the conference finals, with Timo Meier playing in half of those games. I think that's going to happen. Or not going to happen. There's a very good chance that it could happen. New Jersey looks deadly with their lineup, and in the way they're playing the preseason. They are firing on all cylinders and looking like a good bet, assuming everyone stays healthy, that they are going to go far and deep in the playoffs, which would turn, granted, it would be going from if they win the cup or then in the final four, right? It goes from the 64th overall to 30, cuts it in half. But it's still better than a late second round pick. So, and the Sharks still have their own second round pick. So it's looking good for the Sharks to be adding 3, potentially 4 really high end players. I mean, that could be 4 guys in the top 40 that are coming into the draft next year. That's very exciting. So they're only going to add again to that cupboard. And real quick, like when you draft players in the top 5, those players only take 1 year, if that, before they're in the NHL. The next tier, next 10 guys, maybe 2 years, and then so on, kind of goes like that. So we're going to be adding a guy, and if they get that first overall pick, or at least close to it, they could potentially even be on the Sharks next season. So we still don't know what we don't know. The Sharks are going to be better.
I want to call out some comments because we've got some good ones here. So
some Star Wars references.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Grandizer 12 at around 944. Super producer Jason says, Paul and Aaron, I watch because you stay with the news as opposed to rambling a lot. First of all, do you watch this show? That's all we do is ramble. What are you talking about, buddy? I appreciate that you're confused, though. Thank you for hanging out and listening to us ramble and think that we know what we're talking about. Used to follow another Sharks content creator, but they would stay on for way too long. Say something once, why say it again? Are you sure you're not talking about us, buddy? Super producer Jason all the time, guys. Get on with it, right? Noah Claxton says, more you know. Noah Claxton says Paul always smirking on the side while Aaron's deep in thought in the conversation. Yeah, there you go. I'm looking at comments and smirking because you guys are pretty funny. Speaking of which, Kellen Foster, Grand Admiral Thrun is the only one whom gives us hope. We wait for his return. Yes, absolutely, a Star Wars fan. Kellen, did you watch the Ahsoka show? Let me know. That was a very good comment. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a graphic from super producer Jason regarding Grand Admiral Thrun, actually. So you guys should look forward to that one too. I think it's in the works. I hope it's in the works. And if he does it right, it will be magnificent. So
we should put that together because he is most likely going to be the power play quarterback for the
I think so. And somebody earlier, I cannot recall who, was asking me if Matt Benning was going to be the quarterback on the power play. And I don't know who it was, and I don't know where it is. And I'm sorry, but it was a great comment. But no, if Thrun is going to make the roster and he's going to stick. Now, again, they have 8 defensemen on the roster. So obviously only 6 of those guys are going to be suited up in a night. So he could just be hanging out, you know. But if Thrun happens to be on the roster, I think absolutely this is a guy who's got enough offensive upside that he can certainly move the puck well enough to quarterback a power play. If not power play 1, power play 2. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him play. He's one of those bright spots. Oh, Noah Claxton says it was me. It was me. Isn't that from Liar Liar? Something with what's his name, Jim Carrey. Anyway, he in the elevator. Doesn't matter. Regardless. So yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing him get the opportunity to do his thing. I've actually, if we're talking about surprises from earlier, that's definitely for me. One of the surprises was just how good Thrun looks offensively. Obviously not an Erik Karlsson type, but certainly a little more promising than a certain draft pick who was drafted at the age of 17, I believe. Having a hard time remembering his name now. Aaron, do you know?
Are you joking? Are you being
no, I'm not.
Oh, Ryan Merkley?
No, I know Ryan Merkley, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, it was I think he's going to be a promising prospect. I hope he doesn't just fizzle out. He looks like, was that?
Yeah, I think he's going to make. Yeah. I think he's going to be an everyday player. And imagine just go back and remember trade deadline. Sharks picked him up at the trade deadline from Anaheim because he announced that he was going back. Wait, what is even the trade deadline? Was it? Man, I can't even remember now. Was it in the off season? Where's the trade deadline?
I would have to go back and look. We've had a lot of time off, Aaron.
I know, right?
A lot of time. And you know what? I'm sure someone in the chat will correct us.
Sure, but anyway, he was buried in the Anaheim system. He wasn't even going to make the team, and now he's traded to the Sharks, and he is starting and power play quarterback of the Sharks, whereas before he wasn't even going to make the roster in Anaheim. So a lot has changed for him in less than a year. That is amazing. So, yeah, the KHL's own Ryan Merkley. How could you forget? That's right. He did sign in the KHL. But yeah, I think it's just amazing how far he's come, and there's no doubt that he's made the correct decision to not necessarily ask for a trade, but announce that he's going to go back into the draft and not sign with Anaheim. So, or become a free agent, not so much go in the draft. So yeah, Thrun was going to sign with Anaheim. Thank you, Matt. I saw that.
So yeah, he wasn't going to sign. There you go. Yeah, and yeah, again, I just wanted to kind of segue over to doing some comments because we have been gone for a while, and I love reading the comments from you guys. The chat is very active usually, and sometimes we don't get a chance to get to it. And with our first day back after a very long time, I certainly wanted to call out some of those comments there. So guys, thank you so much for chatting and putting everything in there. Do appreciate that. You guys are hilarious, by the way.
Thrun was traded in March, so it was by the deadline. It was the deadline. He got traded. Remember, the Sharks sent a 3rd round pick for him.
Oh,
and everyone said that was a terrible idea. And now he's the starting, what I think is going to be the power play quarterback. It's not really for sure yet, but.
Well, who was it? Just said it. Who was talking about the power play there? Kellen Foster said power play 2 currently as they skate Boards, Eklund, Thrun, Zadina, and LeBanc. So even on power play 2, they're only running the one defenseman, and it's Thrun. So there's a lot of confidence in this kid.
Yeah.
So
that's the kid line, isn't it?
It is the
power
kid line.
play.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. The kid power play line.
I wouldn't say LeBanc is still a kid. Is LeBanc a kid?
No. But Bordelot, Eklund, and Thrun.
Oh, the most of the kid
5.
line. Okay.
3 out of the 5 are kids.
No, Merklita was not in China. He didn't go to
No, he did sign in the KHL.
In the KHL. Russia, right?
I forget what team. Here, I'll look it up real quick.
China. I don't know. Regardless, I think we'll go ahead and move on from all of that. But again, thank you guys for your comments. Do truly appreciate that. Aaron, the Sharks have a new center ice logo. You've got some images, some commentary here. I think we have a time-lapse video. There's a lot going on here. So go ahead. There you go.
Going back to Ryan Merkley, he did sign in China.
He did?
He signed in the KHL for the one team that's in China. It's in Beijing.
Oh.
They play in the KHL, though.
I did not know that.
So he is now residing in Beijing. Going back. Sorry. Back to where we were.
Okay, yeah. Back to the center ice logo. Sorry, Super Dudes Jason. There you go.
All right. So here we go. Here's the new ice getting put in at the San Jose Arena. And for the first, I think it's the first time, don't quote me on that, they're not using the Sharks logo at center ice, the shark, as in the shark head biting the stick. They are using what I consider my favorite logo that the Sharks have. It's the one that goes on the patch or on the shoulder patch up here. And they're putting that at center ice this year. So it's a different look. I like it. I like the colors. I think it's different. I think what I would hope for, I don't even know if they're going to have a third jersey this year, but I wanted a third jersey with that logo on it. Oh, and here's some little details. Like they put little shark fins going across the red line, which I think is pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't know if they've ever done anything like that before either, but it looks really sharp. Look at that. I mean, it's a center ice logo. The Sharks logo is more of a triangle, so this one is definitely catered for the center ice, and I think it looks really good. I'm excited for it. I think it'll look good on TV. I think it'll look good in person. And I would love for them to put that on a jersey right in the middle. I know they did it a couple years ago for just a practice jersey or a warm-up jersey. And then I think they auctioned them off. But I would love to see that as a kind of an alternate version of a jersey with the shark fin in dead center. And there, Kellen, there's my favorite logo too. Thank you. Twinsies.
I love that logo. I was honestly convinced that jumping shark one was going to become the logo for them going forward at some point. But I think the one where the normal one that's biting the stick is just going to stick, and that's how it's going to be. It is kind of nice to see something different. I have no problem with this logo whatsoever. So yeah, and I do like, again, like you said, it's circular, right? Like, like for the face-off dot and everything else. It's nice. I like it. So I mean, does it move the needle for me one way or the other? Not so much. I'm there to watch them play, but it's cool. It's a cool little thing that the Sharks brass are doing. The marketing team and everybody else are just kind of making little changes here and there. You talked about the lounge area. We're changing up the center ice logo. We're doing little things here and there to just try to make it fresh, try to make it new, because you're trying to take your mind off of how bad the season's going to be. And speaking of how bad the season's going to be, I think we can start talking about the upcoming games. And oh, dear God, Aaron, the first handful of games, we're only talking about the first two, but for like the first, 10 games, it's all like competitors.
Well, everyone in the NHL is a competitor.
No, come on. We're not.
I'm just like, come on. Like, you're going to have to play all these teams at some point, right? Yeah. There's no easy games in the NHL.
But you're going to start the season off just getting pounded, my friend.
Okay. Who would you rather play for the first game of the season?
First game of the season?
Yeah.
Anaheim.
Really?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Or LA.
Arizona.
I like
Arena, baby.
I like the LA game because of the rivalry just between the Bay Area and LA. It's always a good game to go to. I think that would have been good. But Vegas, I think the vitriol for Vegas, it's also their season opener, I believe. So actually I don't know that. They might be playing earlier, but to play against Vegas, it's always going to be a big crowd. It's going to be the season opener, so there's going to be a lot of people there to be for the home opening game. It's against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, which is just terrible. Oh, did you see the ring? They just saw it. They posted yesterday.
I did not.
Okay, I'm not a fan of Vegas,
Really?
but I think the ring is pretty cool.
Oh man!
So the ring, it looks like a championship ring, but the top is flat and it spins off and opens up, and inside it's the arena.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So it's like a bowl. It's bowl down, it's an arena, and then you put the top back on, it locks back into place. I thought it was very different, very cool. I don't know. I'm sure the count of diamonds is higher than the team before. Like, it's just stupid how they do all that stuff. But I thought it was pretty cool because it's very different, and it's not a ring that you wear every day. So I just think it's cool. I thought it was cool. Well done. Very well done. I will. Oh, did you pull it up?
Here we go. Yeah, there's Super Producer Jason doing his thing.
I mean, obviously, it's a ridiculous amount of diamonds. But here we go. The top pops off. Boom. There's the arena inside. And it's nighttime. That's just awful. That's a terrible marketing decision right there.
It's nighttime. Is that what it says?
Always advance. That's not true either. Vegas born.
That's okay.
Sure.
That's okay. Don't need that.
Yeah, just different.
The ring actually has a laser pointer that reads LTIR. Well done, Kellen. Well done.
Yes.
Yeah. Noah, tell him, Aaron, this isn't the night factor. Enough of this.
Right. Yeah, get this off the screen.
All right, so we play them on Thursday. That's our opener. Great.
Play them on Thursday. That'll be fun. It'll be a fun night out. There is, and I just closed it, I think. Opening night festivities. So that night, or even in the day, at 4 to 7, there's going to be a whole street fest. A lot of people love doing this. It's a free food festival on Barack Obama Boulevard outside of SAP. From 4 to 7, it's going to include music from a local DJ, exhibit, merchandise booths from Sharks Ice and Sharks Pro Shop. They'll have a Sharks Slap Shop booth and much more. Then they list all the trucks. The live music is the Flatliners. Not sure who that is.
Are you going?
Am I going? Right now, I'm not planning on going. I was just gone for a very long weekend. So I'm sure my wife would be thrilled if I'm like, yeah, I'll be gone Thursday night. So probably not. I will catch a couple games this season. So
I'm looking down and checking my phone to make sure that I have the date correct, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to this one.
Well, it's Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday the 12th. Yeah. Yep. I will be there.
Excellent. Are you going to go early so you can go to the Street Fest?
I want to. It's just a matter of if I can get back from the kids' practice from Cupertino. So
they're not going with you. Kids aren't going with you.
I would say I'm going alone. I'm not going alone because I'm going with actually a fan of the show, Nick HBK. He offered me a ticket, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do this. So
nice.
Thank you, Nick. If you're here, if you're not here, what the hell's the matter with you? I'll be going with them, and they were going to meet up, I think, for food. I won't be able to meet them for dinner beforehand, but you're talking about a slap shot booth. I would be very interested to see if my slap shot number is anywhere near what we got at Kathy's power skating when we did the slap shot there. Do you remember what I got? I think I remember what I got. I think I got like 70 on the slapper.
Was it 70? I thought it was 60.
See, this is you just being disrespectful.
We just stunk.
I didn't stink. What was yours again?
I think I was 60.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah. Who knows? No. Is it true Paul is the local DJ? No, I am absolutely not a DJ. The most I could DJ is if I just hit play. That's about it. So, although nowadays I think most DJs that's kind of what they do, is mostly digital.
Paul still has an
Regardless.
iPod.
Yeah, there you go. iPod. Does anybody have iPods anymore?
They don't even make them
You
anymore.
just showed your age, didn't you? Good
I
Lord.
said
And I agreed
Paul.
with you.
Paul still has an iPod. That's what I said.
No, I don't. Oh my God. Okay. So, yeah, Golden Knights. Okay. Then Saturday against the Colorado Avalanche. It just doesn't get any easier, does it?
That'll be an easy win. Come on. That's such a
Yeah,
breeze
for
of a
Colorado.
team.
Killing me. Oh my God.
You know what's great about
Yeah,
this season?
so
The Sharks are going to be so bad. You know why they're going to get a lot of wins?
what?
You know why the Sharks will get a lot of wins?
You said the Sharks are going to be so bad. Do you
I
know why
did.
they're going to get a lot of wins?
Because every team's going to play their backup against them.
Oh, fair enough. If there's a reason why they might get some wins, it would be because of that. Absolutely.
I guarantee you we're going to see a lot more backups than starters this year because they're going to want to rest all of their starters. Especially most of those teams come through and they play LA, Anaheim, San Jose, probably Vegas. So those four, they're going to want to rest their starter for.
But I've got news for you, bud. Their backup goaltenders are still going to beat us. We're not that good.
I'm just saying it's okay. better than playing their starters.
And it's okay because even if we can't get the wins, I'm confident that the games will still be fun. If all you're doing is trying to watch a game to get a win, you're doing it wrong. Enjoy the game, enjoy the journey. Okay, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, so
we just stunk.
Enjoy the process. Just enjoy the process. Embrace the process.
Absolutely. So the process is going to start us off 0-2. After this week is done. Aaron trying to drink almost shut out your nose there, buddy. That could have been a moment right there. Oh, sorry. Too bad. Now they're talking about iPods and MP3 players in the chat. Way to go, Aaron.
Where's my Zune? I need my Zune.
Oh my God. Zune, yeah. Okay, so those are the upcoming games. Obviously, I'm expecting 2 big fat L's at the very beginning of the season, but you never know. Some of these teams, maybe they've got a couple new players here or there. They're trying some things out a little bit different from the way it worked last season or whatever. And maybe we catch them off guard. I have no idea. A bunch of guys that are feeling rowdy and they got something to prove on the Sharks team for their upcoming contracts or for trade discussions, things like that. Maybe they come out of the gate screaming. Who knows? But I just I think strength of team, obviously. We should get absolutely annihilated in these 2 games. But again, fun to watch, right? So, Aaron, what's your prediction on these 2 games here?
No points. All right, I'll think outside the box. I'll say there's going to be an overtime loss. They'll get 1 point.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe Vegas will have the cup hangover and they'll just come out flat.
I doubt it, but who knows?
Peeking ahead real quick, I didn't put this on there, but you said the first 4 games are going to be hard because next week it's going to be Carolina and Boston.
Isn't it like the first 10 games?
I mean, the Sharks were so far down that almost every team they're playing was ahead of them in the standings last year. So it's going to go at home.
Playoff teams.
They open it up at home for 4 games. So it's Vegas, Colorado. Next week is Carolina and then Boston. Then they go on the road.
Yeah, the chat is lost. Grandizer says, I used an old Walkman in the 2000s. Peter St. John, I missed my boombox. What happened? Oh my God, it's too funny. I missed my old Walkman. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see. Okay, so upcoming games, we're done with that. And I don't think anybody in the chat would disagree with that one. Perhaps a point, but I think pretty safe to say we're coming home with a whole lot of nothing. So Aaron, you've got some Blue Sky invite codes you wanted to let people know about before we can move on to some other things. Just kind of promote this. Go ahead.
Yeah, Blue Sky. We are on there and probably start using that a lot more. And we have invite codes because right now it is invite only. So we currently have 5 invite codes. We got a lot. So if you were interested in joining Blue Sky and you would like an invite code, shoot us an email at thefinfactor@gmail.com and we will respond hopefully soon with a Blue Sky code. First come, first serve. So the first 5 that get it. So join us on Blue Sky. I created a feed on there for San Jose Sharks news. It works a little bit differently than Twitter. I mean, it acts and looks like Twitter, but Twitter from, let's say, 10 years ago. So it's infant Twitter. It was created by Jack Dorsey, who created Twitter originally. So it looks and feels just like it. There's a whole lot of information that's over my pay grade and why it's a lot better. But essentially, once you start building up that, you can push those followers to other social medias that you have. And so you don't have to always start and build from scratch. You can bring it with you. So it's pretty cool. It's exciting. It's still kind of in its infancy, and it's very, I would call it polite Twitter. So there's not a lot of trolls and not a lot of negative energy around it. So I think because it's invite only, there's not a lot of bots on there because of that. So it's interactions with people, and hashtags don't work, which is why you create a feed. So the feed picks up anything that says San Jose Sharks, SJ Sharks, Teal Together, all the normal hashtags. You just don't have to put the pound sign in. It'll pick it all up. So
The fin factor.
The fin factor. I should put that in there.
Come on, man.
I did not.
You didn't put killing me.
Anyway, we are the Sharks feed. There's not another one, and there's, I think, about 20 people that like it so far.
So if you'd like an invite and we have one available to you, go ahead and email us at thefinfactor@gmail.com. Maybe just something in the subject line that says blue sky request or something like that. And we'll see that, and we will get back to you if we have it available. Good?
Good.
Great. We're going to move on to our discussion a little bit here. We just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a preview. We know we've been talking about the new set forever, and we actually are working on it. When I say working on it, I don't mean conceptualizing anymore. I mean, Aaron has literally put screws into wood and things of that nature. So we are actively building the set. I haven't lifted a finger. They've been doing everything. So it's coming along. And Aaron, did you want to start? Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and start talking about this one here.
Sure. Actually, me and super producer Jason, our dad, has he got a new fence in his backyard, and they have a big backyard. So he took all these fence boards, the old fence boards, and planed them down. And so we have these nice redwood boards that are all cut up, and it's going to look good up on our backgrounds. We have some of those, the white plastic kind of shapes. In fact, it's like that's where we got the inspiration for our virtual backgrounds that we're using right now. It's kind of the same shape. And yeah, we're putting this together. I should say he's putting it together. So shout out to Todd Sholl, our set design maker. I don't know what you call him, what you title him. Me and Jason had a lot of input and went through and got a bunch of the materials. So it's going to come together, and hopefully in the coming weeks, we will be in studio for new backgrounds.
Sorry, Noah Claxton. It's a great comment. The year is 2030. We are still working on the new set. It's coming along.
Narrator. Yeah, thanks. It's true. It's been a long time coming. Believe me. So
I can hear the Home Depot music from here.
Yeah, there's been a few Home Depot trips. It's a long process, but it's gonna look great. It's gonna feel great, and I'm very excited to be off of this virtual void.
We're gonna do a show, and it's just the background's just gonna fall. Oh my god! Yeah, throw back to the set days and playoffs, live streams, and recaps. Those are the best. Yeah, the crotch shots. You guys remember the crotch shots? We got something in there that shouldn't be in there in chat. What is going on?
We got hit with spam. That's a first. That means we made it. We got hit with spam.
Yeah. How about that? Liability insurance. Now there you go. Yep, because if that thing falls on my head, gonna have problems, man. Okay. The good-looking one. You can't hurt this. Okay.
Right.
We're all about the process here at the Fin Factor. Yes. Whether it's our hockey team going through the process of getting better over years, or our set being built over years, we are all about the process here at the Fin Factor. Oh my God. In any case, yeah. So there you go. New set stuff. Talked about that. Awesome. Now, the only two things really left to talk about are not shark related, but they are, well, one of them actually is kind of shark related, but it is hockey related. So, and then of course, our good friend Noah Gregor here, possibly signing with Toronto. Aaron, why don't you go ahead?
He's currently on a tryout, a professional tryout. I don't think he's made the team yet, but it looks like he might be because they kind of made some moves, I think, to make space for him. So I bet it's coming tomorrow, and I'm sure everyone's going to start tagging Paul in the comments about how they're very excited for Noah Gregor. So should we do this again? If Noah Gregor signs with Toronto, do you think he scores more than 10 goals?
Are you asking me right now, or are you asking the chat?
Both. Over under on 10 goals for Noah Gregor, assuming he signs with.
You already know. I'm telling you.
I wish you could put your jersey on and tell me what you think.
Especially, Aaron, especially on a team like Toronto, where he's not going to get much playing time. On a team like the Sharks, throw him out there on the first line because somebody had an injury and we'll just play him anywhere in the lineup. There is no chance, no chance for this guy to get the amount of playing time on Toronto's roster that he would have got on San Jose's roster. So I don't see it. I think some of you are trolling me. LM says 25 goal season incoming. Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. So y'all think I hate Noah Gregor. Y'all are wrong. Okay, I'm just a realist. If he gets to 25 goals with Toronto, I'd be more than happy for the guy because then maybe he'll get paid, which would be great. All right. And for the amount that I've knocked the guy and spoken the truth about him, for him to hit 25 would be quite the milestone. And I'd be very happy for the guy. So there you go. However, Peter St. John, a little bit more realistic, says, I do. No, we'll get 10. There you go. I don't know. I don't see it. I just don't see it. Maybe a change of scenery will help him out. Maybe different line mates will help him out. Maybe different coaching will help him out. Who knows? But it's not like he's going to get a chance to play alongside a guy like Austin Matthews and he's going to pick up a whole ton of points, right? I don't see that happening. So if we're realistically asking if he's going to, what the over-under is on the whole 10 goals, I'm still taking the under. And I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it panning out for him to be a 10 goal scorer on a team with that much talent that's going to play their top guys way more than a guy like Noah Gregor. There you go.
All right, let's put it this way. The Sharks play Toronto twice.
Oh,
does Noah score against the Sharks in either game?
That is a great question. A goal against the Sharks in only the 2 games that they get to play is far more likely than 10 goals across the 82 games of the season, I think. He'll be motivated.
He did get 10 last year, right?
He got exactly 10, yes. Exactly 10. Hey, laugh all you want, but I've been dead on about Noah Gregor, except for one goal. One goal.
We're going to set the over-under at 9 again, so it's either 10 or less.
Well, no, it'd be 9.5.
9.5. There you go. 9.5.
Ben and Gunsry says 10 goals for Gregor, and Paul's getting Gregor's Leaf jersey.
I'm not buying it this time. So you guys can
no one's buying it, but I got news for you. Unless Ben's buying it, nobody's buying a Toronto Noah Gregor jersey. This isn't the Gregor factor.
If Gregor gets more than 10, Paul has to start a digital petition to bring Gregor back to San Jose. I like that. While wearing his jersey, he has to record himself on video saying that Noah never should have left.
He never should have left. See, 25 goal scoring Noah Gregor, according to one of you goofballs. Noah was pretty bitter at the season-ending remarks, it seemed to me. So, yeah, he will definitely be motivated. Yeah, see, I could see that. I could see him being motivated when playing against the Sharks. Again, it's only 2 games, so I don't know if that's enough time for him to be able to come out and score a goal against the team that maybe he's a little bit bitter about. But I think it's more likely he gets 1 against the Sharks than 10 against the league.
Now I'm going to look for when is that game, and I want to circle it on our calendar. Oh, man, it's going to be in the second half of the season. So the first game at home, January 6th, Saturday game.
Okay.
You bet I'll be at that game.
All right.
And then the next game, it's got to be in Toronto, and I'm trying to find it. I think I missed it. I missed it. Boo. Trying to find it real quick here, and I can't find it. So if anyone knows it, shout it out in the.
Get on with it!
Who cares? They're going to play him again later on. Doesn't matter. So they'll be playing a game at home and a game in Toronto. So whoop-de-doo. Okay. He's not going to score on either one of them, by the way. Anyway, moving on to also not Shark news, but NHL news. Mike Babcock, you wanted to talk about this one, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on this one, but you go ahead, fire away.
Sure. Mike Babcock, this is a kind of old news, but I just wanted to talk about it. So he was hired and fired in Columbus before he even played a game. In fact, I can't even remember if he made it to training camp. I think training camp had just started. This whole thing, if you don't know the history of Mike Babcock, I'm not going to get into it, but he was kind of blackballed from the league because of some shady stuff that he was doing in Toronto when he was the coach. He ended up getting fired and banned from coaching. And a number of years go by. And I bring this up basically because there was a lot of Sharks fans that wanted Mike Babcock hired here in San Jose. And instead they got Quinn. So this is kind of, I told you so, it would have been a terrible idea, because it would have been a terrible idea. And it took it was Paul Bissonnette, of all people, who's the one that kind of broke the news. And on his podcast, he talked about how he was getting reports from players in Toronto about what was going on. And the gist of it was that Mike Babcock, I can never say his name. Mike Babcock would ask for a player's phone and cast it to the screen and just go through his pictures, which is very, very breach of trust there. So it became a big thing when Paul Bissonnette talked about it. Everyone was like, whoa, he's doing what? And then Boone Jenner, the captain of the team, now looks terrible for doing this. He came out in defense of Mike Babcock and said, it's a misunderstanding. We sat down individual meetings and asked if he could see pictures of my family. And I showed him, which I believe him, but I'm sure he didn't talk to the rest of his team to see if it was true, because the NHLPA and the NHL investigated. And the following day, he resigned. Now, come on. Now everyone looks bad. Columbus looks bad for hiring him in the first place. He had to get cleared by Bettman. So he had a meeting with Bettman before getting hired and going through the process so that he could be cleared and allowed back into the NHL. Goes through that whole rigmarole. Then you have Boone Jenner, who stands up for him and now looks terrible, because what kind of captain didn't verify with his teammates that, this stuff was happening and that it was inappropriate and never should have happened. So Columbus looks terrible in all of this. The NHL looks terrible in all this. Boone Jenner looks terrible in all this. It never should have happened. Mike Babcock is now probably never going to coach again at any level, and that's the way it should have been, in my opinion. Anything to add?
Only that I'll reiterate what I said before we started the segment, was that I just wholeheartedly agree. Again, not going to get into everything with Mike Babcock, but there's no reason for him to be back in the league, and I'm glad that he's not. So I know some people were, and I think Noah was joking. He says Babcock would have been the perfect fit here if our goal was to burn the franchise down. So yeah, for me, I'm glad that the right thing was done here. That just because he's been a coach and a winning coach, in the NHL for years prior, you've got to draw the line somewhere. And when someone's not acting right, we'll just say, I'll leave it at that. I like that he's kind of been excommunicated from, at least from Columbus, hopefully from the league going forward. And we're not going to hear any more about this guy. I just not a good person, in my opinion. So anyway, that's the last really thing to talk about with him. But Aaron, Columbus, again, you said looking pretty bad. Their captain, again, like you said, not even checking with any of the guys. What kind of captain does that? He looks really bad too. And they're going to have a new coach that's not the guy they were expecting, right? So they're going to have to probably, work on some new systems or something like that as the season goes on. So they'll probably be in shambles. and I'll say this: they'll still have more than 68 points. Okay, they still have more than 68 points. So I don't know.
You saying the Sharks will?
Huh?
The Sharks will?
No, the Columbus.
We just stunk.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, yeah, he probably can't even be an analyst anymore. Kellen, I hope I just don't even see him anymore or hear from him anymore. I'm tired of hearing that name. When bad people come around, you get rid of them. Just be done, please. Okay, it's enough with this guy. Enough. So, regardless, thankfully we're done with all of that. And super producer Jason, on top of things, he wants to let you guys know, as I've let you know earlier, that once again, it's been a long time, but there was really nothing to bother you guys about. We're bothering you now. So it would be great for you guys to go ahead, hit that subscribe button, because as we said, we don't like to bother you with meaningless content. We're only going to let you know when we'll have something good to talk about. Here we are. So if you'd like to do that, that would be excellent. Hit that like button. It does help the algorithm a little bit. And if you want to help support the show, you can do that a number of ways. First and foremost, right down at the bottom there, it says visit our website, thefinfactor.com. If you check out the products that we have, it does help support the show. It helps us continue to build our set. I promise we don't need the money for that anymore. We've got it figured out, but it certainly does help. Absolutely. So if you guys check out those things there, we've got, the water bottles, the sweatshirts, the shirts. Somebody had said polo that was on that they picked up as well. I can't remember who it was that had said that, but thank you so much for supporting the show that way. You can also do it as super producers on top of things. Tip us on Venmo at the Fin Factor. If you'd like to leave a comment there, we can read it during the show or during the next show, as this is the end. And you can also do that through the super chat functions. Same exact thing. You leave a comment, we'll go ahead and call it out. And sometimes you guys have some pretty fun topics to talk about. So, when it's not talking about Justin Braun. But otherwise, yeah, we appreciate the comments and everything. And even if you're not supporting the show monetarily and you guys are just in the chat, we certainly do appreciate that as well. It's a lot of fun having you guys, fact check us sometimes. You guys are pretty funny in there too, so we do appreciate that. Again, the whole premise behind this show is, it's just supposed to be us sitting around talking with some friends. And certainly we've had enough of you guys in the chat for several years now. We do feel like a lot of you guys are our friends, so we do appreciate the banter back and forth. So once again, thank you for that. Aaron, did I miss anything?
No, one last comment here. Any regrets or regrets on getting rid of Evander Kane?
First of all, Ian, is that a throwback? Is that a throwback to that Snickers commercial?
No, I think
where they tattooed "No Regrets."
There's a movie where he has no regrets.
Oh, there's a movie. Okay, never mind.
No regrets. There's a tattooed. Yeah.
There's a commercial where somebody had it tattooed on it as a "No Regrets," and it was a Snickers.
I'll answer this real quick. No, there's no regrets. And I will say, as much as I can say, that we had some confirmation from the inside that there's no regrets on what happens with the Sharks getting rid of him. So that's all. I'll just leave it at that.
I can't remember the confirmation. I will talk to you after the show is over.
Sure.
But I'm fairly certain that that's not something Aaron's making up or anything. I do recall that. I just don't remember who it was. Regardless, no, I don't think any regrets on moving on from Vander Kane. I think regardless, I mean, again, like with Mike Babcock, right? I'm sure he's a great coach, but there's just certain things that just don't gel with the world. And so those types of guys you don't need in the locker room. You don't need in Babcock's case heading up the team, right? You don't need that. And sometimes getting rid of that person, even if they're very good at their job, is the best thing for the group, for the team. So if there's any regret, it might be bringing him on in the first place so that we even had that situation. But regardless, again, hindsight's 2020 on that one. But no, I would say no regrets on that one. So there you go. Aaron, any last thing here, or is it just that one comment you wanted to throw in there?
It just popped in there, and I was like, I wanted to answer it.
Very good. Okay, for one last time, guys. Again, thank you so much for all your comments. You guys make this show a lot of fun. Aaron and I mean, it looks like we're here doing the show for you, but really it's you guys in the chat, and we're just having fun with you guys. So thanks for putting on a good show today, chat. Way to go. And speaking of putting on a great show, super producer Jason, give him some thumbs up or some fire or something like that in the chat. This guy's doing it all. He's certainly working hard. We appreciate the smoothness with which this show was put on. There was only the one little blip where I was waiting for you to say it, to put something in there that we just stunk or whatever it was, and that was it. So yeah, there you go. So I got switched.
There it is. You meant to do that one.
Yeah, I figured. Anyway, yeah, always on top of things, always on point. Certainly do appreciate you, bud. So I guess that will do it. So for super producer Jason, I'm Paul,
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys
next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We just stunk. We stunk on the power play. We stunk on the penalty kill. We stunk 5-on-5. Our forward stunk. Our defenseman stunk. We just stunk.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.